nurses. It is Dr. V here with Morning Infusion with Dr. V podcast, where we are intentional about teaching nurses how to work from anywhere around the world, making money and owning your own time, building profitable nurse coaching and consulting businesses. You will hear from amazing guests that have grown their companies and want to share insight into how you can do the same to change the face of healthcare as we know it. If you want to grow your businesses and leverage your knowledge as a nurse to grow wildly successful businesses at the top, instead of working your way to the top, head on over and join our Millionaire Nurse CEO group on Facebook, where you can ask questions and get updates on our live and virtual events to help you grow your businesses. So good morning, everyone. So we have the fabulous Nyrobia Grant here with us today. So one of the things that I would like for everybody to do, once you're here, I want you to like, share, comment on what we will be talking about. It's going to be an engaging conversation. Nyrobia is an amazing visionary. So Nyrobia, tell me a little bit about who you are.
Well, my name is Nyrobia Grant. I am a holistic health and wellness coach. I specialize in working with people with busy schedules, focusing on getting your mental health together, focusing on your diet, your exercise, making sure that you have a well-rounded, whole life, holistic and wellness plan in place to combat diseases like cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, and just make sure that you get a whole understanding of the background behind your health.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, tell me who is your target audience?
My target audience are female attorneys.
Okay, cool. Now, just because it's female attorneys don't mean that if you need some help with natural healing, then you can. And one of the things that we do know, so tell me a little bit about what there was a significant thing that happened to you that we talked about previously. You came in and something happened in your life. So just tell us what that first life event was.
The first thing that got me started was it was Father's Day about 2 years ago. My boyfriend came in from work, and within an hour, he was a healthy man. Within an hour, he had a heart attack, and he passed away literally in my arms.
So tell me, what are some of the things that happened after those moments? So he had a heart attack, he passed away in your arms. Of course, you called EMS and those things. So what are some of the things that happened very shortly after that?
Within the next couple of months, my grandfather was supposed to move in with us so that I could take care of him. He had diabetes and was fighting a couple of different things. He was supposed to move in with us, but after my boyfriend passed, it was just really hard for me mentally to get myself back on track. So before I got myself mentally back on track, my grandfather passed away in a nursing home. And the week that my grandfather passed away, I found out that my aunt had stage 4 cancer. I went to Maryland, which is where she lives, which is 4 hours away from me, and I brought her every holistic product that I could think of that helps to cure cancer and fight cancer and prevent cancer. Prior to me getting there, she wasn't getting out of bed. She wasn't eating. She wasn't talking much. I went and I spent some time with her, and I just nursed her back to health. I gave her teas and froze different things that I knew was natural that can help her. By the time I left, she was out of bed. She was eating. She was talking, and the color in her skin started to come back. I had to come back home to maintain to my household, and a week later she passed away. No one kept up with the instructions that I left for her on holistic health and the different items that I left there for her. So I feel like if I was there with her, helping her, showing her the right things to do and giving it to her, I feel like she would have beat cancer.
I love, the holistic approach. One of the things that and I hate that this is the way that it is, but and I tell people this all the time. I went to 4 schools for my nursing degree, and I had one nutrition class, one, right? And the reality is that food does heal a lot of the things that we have going on. And we're not saying that food cures cancer, but we are saying that it helps you with the how you move forward. And I think it's food is definitely preventative for cancer for sure. And how we just kind of look at things. And so I'm just very intrigued by all that you've done. So now, after your boyfriend passed away, you had some dark moments, right?
Definitely.
And so tell me a little bit about how you were able to transition, because that's hard, especially when you have those series of deaths in your families. How do you move forward?
For me, it was literally a lot. At first, I spent a lot of time in my bed. My days consisted of me waking up, taking a shower, and going right back to sleep. And after a while, I realized I can't keep going on like this. My children were coming into my room, looking over me, seeing me cry a lot. And I realized that I had to show them something different. And what I wasn't called home, he was. So I had to realize, like, I have a purpose here. Whatever my purpose is, I have to look at things as not what happened to me, but what happened for me.
Mhm.
This happened for me to learn. This happened for me to grow. So I had to figure out a way to get back up and keep on moving. And for me, it was getting back in the gym. And as
Mm.
we all know, working out gives you natural endorphins. So for me, that was my way back into life. That was what I knew that was comfort for me and that helped me.
I love it. I tell those people this all the time. So I was on the way to the gym with my husband, and I remember feeling like I do not want to go to this gym. Okay, I don't. And had I been in that car right by myself, we would have done a U-turn. Okay, and we would have went right back to the house. All right. And so I got to the gym, and about 10 minutes in on the treadmill, like I feel so much better. I was like, oh, this is what they be talking about, these whole endorphin things. I was like, okay, okay. And so it really truly is. I'm glad that you found that. I previously, had an interview with another nurse who, just by exercise and by eating just so much better, than that it really changed how she literally went through life. She was able to heal her own body. She was able to do things that she wasn't able to do before. And so that's one of the reasons why I love what you're doing, because you're not doing supplements. You're not doing those things that are unnatural and unhealthy for you. You're doing things that really, really can help. Now tell me a little bit about you starting the business and what made you start the business. Because you've been a nurse for how long?
For about 12 years now.
12 years. And you look like you're 12 years old. But anyway, so what made you want to start the business?
I was working in the hospital, and after my aunt passed, I God placed me in an oncology unit.
Mm,
And I really feel like this was God because I've never worked in an oncology unit before in my whole nursing career. So I was placed on an oncology unit, and I was realizing they're telling the cancer patients, you need this chemo, you need that chemo, but not one person changed their diet. The nutritionist would come in and tell them, you need to eat this, you need to eat that. And the items that were being served were high in cholesterol, high in sugar, high in fat, nothing that was going to help them fight this cancer. So, with nothing on your plate that's helping you, only medication, what are your odds? If the doctors only believe that medication can help you, where is the natural substances? Where's the fruits? Where's the vegetables? Where's the food that don't consume a lot of sugar? None of this is being offered in these hospitals.
And you know, one of the things that I do know is that a lot of people they struggle with hearing that because of the traditional American diet. But the reality is that we have to be very, very clear about the fact that it does. If you do change your diet, if you do change the way that you eat, it 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 changes everything about you. You know, I've heard, you know, this is not something that I've actually witnessed because I've never been on an oncology unit, but I've heard that people who have had, you know, cancer and things of that nature when they change their diets. And that's one of the reasons why I left corporate, was because I was very intentional about changing diets. And the person that and I just, you know, when you look at it, like when you go into the hospital, you need to look at how you're being fed, right? Because that makes such a big difference. If you're diabetic, you shouldn't have a high amount of carbohydrates on your plate. You have to understand your disease process. If you have CHF, you shouldn't have a, you know, this high sodium items that are on your plate. And those things make such an amazing difference. And really, the hospital should be the standard, right?
Right.
For where you are going. And, you know, that is just, oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. So now tell us a little bit about once you were on the unit, what are some things that you thought about after you experienced that, like you saw that?
I realized that if I was to go in and now try and educate the patients, I was getting pushback because it's like, we don't have that. Who are you to tell them against what the doctors are saying? You're just the nurse. We're the practitioners here. We are the people in charge of them. So for me, I knew in my gut what was right, but because I have this title as a nurse working in this unit, that is owned by someone else that could possibly fire me, I have to shut my mouth from doing. I'm a nurse. I'm a patient advocate. I'm going to advocate for my patients and tell them what's right. So if I can't do that in your hospital, why am I here?
Mm, I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, you know, I'm going to say that Nyrobia is a client of ours. So tell us a little bit about one of the reasons why you decided to go with us as it relates to coaching, or even like when did that moment come that you said, I'm done. I am absolutely going to figure this whole thing out. When was that moment?
Apparently I must have filled out a questionnaire with your company at some point. Like I've said, I've told you before, I have no recollection of it. So I feel like it was God that placed me with you. I've had another business coach before, but it was nowhere near the same capacity. I am one of those people that kind of just paid for the course, used it for a week maybe, and never went back because it was just a bunch of information thrown at me and no guidance along the way. So once I went into your master class and I saw how engaged you were, how knowledgeable you were, and how you were doing what you're teaching, it's just like you go into a hair salon. You're not going to go to the person with the messed up hair. You want to go to the person with the nice hair. So it's like, okay, she's doing this. She's practicing what she's preaching. And then I had my strategy call with you, and it was an even better experience because I got a one on one where it wasn't like, okay, she's just preaching to the crowd. No, now you're talking to me. You're telling me what I need. You're telling me how you can help me get to where I'm going. And from day one, it's been nothing short of amazing. Nothing, no, every expectation I had has been surpassed. So that's what it is for me.
I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you for saying that. Because you are one of the things that I do love about you, Nairobi, is that you are a visionary. Like how So just to, let the everyone know. So we have this thing where we call vivid vision, right? And where we want to ensure that you have, because without vision the people perish, right? That comes from the Bible. And so you want to ensure that you have a creative vision for where your life is supposed to go, right? And so we're very intentional about how we, help you to create that vision for your life, because if you can't see it, then you can't get there, right? And so we were at our inner circle retreat and we were talking about the vision, and what were some of the things that came up. And listen, Nyrobia came up with this amazing vision for how she wanted to help her clients get to where they need to be. So talk about that.
For me, I have to see it to believe it. So if I can put a picture together in my head, I'm a creator. That's why I know God is very in tune with me, because God is the creator. So for me to be in tune with him, he helps give me vision. I know for me, with anything that I do, with anything that I'm successful with, down to the cars I want, down to the house I want, down to a pair of shoes that I want. If I want myself to go anywhere, prior to becoming a registered nurse, I envisioned myself jumping up and down, passing my boards. I envisioned myself being on a unit. So if I want to go somewhere, I have to mentally see it in my head. And sometimes that's me writing it down and then putting that picture in my head. So if I want a pair of white shoes, I write down a pair of white shoes. But one thing that I definitely learned is, when you want something, you have to be very particular. You can't say, I want a new car. Okay, well, here's a 1995 car. It's new to you. No, you have to say, I want a 2024 whatever type of car with black seats, silver rim lining. You get as detailed as possible, and then it helps you to see it. Once I see something in my head, you can't stop me from getting it. I'm going for it, and I'm going to have tunnel vision. Whatever tries to stop me along the way, I'll deal with that along the way, but I'm getting there.
I love it. And that's one of the things that you did. Because when we were at the inner circle retreat, one of the things, so we were, all of us were in there chatting it up, and Nairobi was in outside, because obviously, in order for you to be seen, you have to create content. And so she was outside creating content, and she was a little bit too close to the water. And we were in Florida at the time. We all know about Florida in the water. And I was like, so I need for you to move back, okay? Alligators coming out of the water. I don't want that to happen, okay? And so she moved back. But one of the things that I'm really, I really love about you is I love your tunnel, and you really are like that. Your tunnel vision. So what are some of the biggest transformations that you have had since you have been in the program?
Talking to people. I'm I'm naturally a very quiet person. I'm not shy, but I won't go out of my way to have a conversation with people. I'm very good with my patients. I'm actually very good with the difficult patients, because I've learned to communicate with them to get down to their level. But being in the program, I have to go live. I have to go to events and talk to other people that I've never met before. And I've always been the type of person that I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want people to see what I'm doing. Well, how am I supposed to help people if they don't know what I'm doing? So that's the biggest transformation for me.
I love it. Love it. Yeah, that is for sure, for sure. So so tell me, what has been one of your most rewarding things that has happened while you have been an entrepreneur?
Having people come up to me, I shared with you earlier this week, I gave a motivational speech which was inspired by you, to a group of elite high school students last week. And I was just sharing my experience and sharing things about health and wellness and their future going forward. And right after that, directly after that, within 5 minutes, I had people running up to me. Here's my business card. Let's connect. I have something I want to collaborate with you. I want you to come and speak to my students. Can you work on a program for this group? So it was immediate. And the whole reason I got that connect to even do that speech was from going live and putting myself out there. It
Oh,
was a high school advisor who saw me online talking about the things that I was doing. And she's like, I think that's very motivational. So can you come and give a motivational speech to these high school seniors? So one thing leads to another. And I know from these connects alone, this is a top of a county who runs programs for a whole county who wants me to work with him. And another person is a top attorney in another county who runs an outreach program. So one connect will lead to another. And this all started from me being in this program because I would not have done any of that on my own.
you know what? I love that. I love that because one of the things that we talk about, obviously, is you have borrowed traffic, you have paid traffic, and you have organic traffic, right? And so the borrowed traffic, of course, we're on this podcast, we're on my platform. So this is a borrowed traffic right here, right? And so, or if we were to go live together, that would be borrowed traffic on your platform. That would be borrowed traffic for me, right? And then, of course, then there's paid traffic, which is like Facebook ads or Google ads, right? Well, then the organic is what you have just really excelled at. And organic is probably one of the harder ways in which you do excel, but you have excelled at it tremendously. And one of the things that I remember, because at first, you were like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know. And I was like, go live. Just trust me. Go live. And you kept doing it. And what helped you mindset wise to move forward? Like, what was that thing that said, I'm just going to do it, even though I don't really want to? Because you didn't really want to at first, right?
No, not even. Like I said, watching you, seeing you just do it, and I'm like, well, I can't go to her and ask her for help and expect her to coach me. And she's telling me what she did to get to where she is and not listen to her. Obviously, she did something right. So, as hard as it is, it must be something in there that works. And I just did it one day and I was just like, all right, I'll get over this fear. And then I did it another day and then another day. And I'm like, okay, she was right because I started getting the traction. I started getting the response. So I think I came back to you and was like, as much as I didn't want to listen to you, you were right.
Because when you're in a coaching program, it's important for you to be coachable. And one thing that I love about you is that you are highly coachable. And so now, is it hard to go live
No.
at all, right? And it was not hard to get in front of the crowd and do that speech, correct? And that was an impromptu speech. Am I correct about that?
Right. I found out that I was speaking about 20 minutes before I got up.
Mm.
I thought I was just invited as a guest, and I get there. My name is on the program and everything that I have been working on. And then she comes and sits at the table, like, hey, do you mind giving a motivational speech? And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm going to wing it, but I will figure it out.
Sweet. And one of the things too is teaching you to how to sell from the stage, right? Because you want to sell to many. And so that was selling to many, right? And so that's one of the things that we teach in the program. So I love it. So thank you for being amazing. So now tell me, what's one of the most rewarding things that you have found about nursing?
I love caring for people. To me, I get a joy. And I have, over the years, I've had so many of my patients tell me, you're just so different than the other nurses. And I think that's just my nature. Me by nature, I'm very gentle. I'm very caretaking. I enjoy taking care of people by nature. Like when I see someone start to feel better, it makes me happy inside. I'm like, okay, even though they cursed me out 2 hours ago, I'm glad they feel better.
Sure happens.
So it's just seeing people get better and knowing that I had something to do with it. And a lot of times my patients will come back and say, you were the best nurse that I had. Thank you. No one took the time to talk to me about this. No one took the time to just sit with me. And nursing is super busy a lot of days, but sometimes it's just that one little moment that you just take to rub the patient's hands and let them know, I'm here. I'm just going to do this, but I'll be back. And actually coming back, because that was a big thing. They would say, oh, the other nurse said she was going to come back and she didn't come back either. So it's actually keeping my word. I try to keep my word in everything I do, but especially in the hospitals, in nursing, because a lot of times the patients are there alone. They don't have family or friends with them. So you are kind of their family while they're there. So I try to keep my word. And that's just the biggest thing for me, seeing them get better, knowing that I took part in that.
I love it. I love it. So now these are some more rapid fire questions just so everyone knows. So what is a common misconception do you think that people think about nursing?
That nurses just follow doctors' orders. There's a lot of times I work in the city a lot where there's a lot of interns and residents. And a lot of times they're putting in these orders and I'm like, I am not doing that. I don't know where you learned that, but I am not doing that for my patient. Come back over here. Let's discuss this and I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. So a lot of times that is the biggest misconception. Oh, nurses just follow the orders. No, no, no. A lot of times we're changing the orders. We're the ones on top of the orders. We have a relationship with the patient. We know our patient's not going to tolerate that. My patient's not going to take that. My patient's not going to do that. So let me tell you what we will do going forward.
And that's true. That's true. Obviously you have to have that conversation with the physician because the physician is the one who changes the order, but you have to be that patient advocate in order for your patient to live. Like I had one physician patient, the kid came in, the kid was young, and when I say young, like less than a month old, and the kid had a fever, and he wanted, like, he didn't even go in and look at the kid, and he was like, we're gonna do a urinalysis, of course we gotta cap the kid and all of that. Go and look in that child's ears. Let's find out what's going on with that child before we just jump to a catheterization, right? And like he didn't even go in the room, right? And I'm not saying that all doctors are bad, so that's not what we're not bashing them all. But there are some that you have to be very intentional about how you move forward with them. So now tell me something. Tell me, what are you reading now?
I'm reading The Garden Within.
Okay.
So I'm doing some inner work to get the outer blessings.
Because it's inner, right? And what have you found from The Garden Within? Tell us some lessons.
Everything comes from within.
Mhm.
Everything on the outside comes from within, whether it's a thought, whether it's a feeling, everything that comes from inside your body, inside your mind, has something to do with the way you act, the way you react. It all starts from within.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Now, who is a leader, living or dead, that you would like to have a conversation with?
Oprah. Hands down, Oprah.
Okay. And so tell me why.
She's a connoisseur. She has made it literally from the bottom. Her life story is a tragedy. If you know her story, it's a tragedy that she never allowed to hold her back. And not to say that one person's trauma is harder than another person's trauma, because we all deal with traumas differently. Different things may affect different people, but she's had a traumatic childhood. And look at where she is. And not only is she a woman, she's a Black woman that did this. She set the way, opened the path for a lot of us that don't know it is possible. She's showing us. She didn't just show us, she's still going forward, still doing more. So that's a conversation that I would love to have.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, I was running that little circle at the hospital and they said Oprah was a billionaire. And I was like, billionaire with a B? Wait a minute. Okay. She can do it. I can do it too. Because what happens is we go back into people's past and we look at that past and we think, well, they may have a silver spoon in their mouth. The reality is that they don't. And there are a lot of people that are very critical of some of the things that have been going on in the recent past, but the reality is that it is what it is. I mean, I don't know, like, we don't know the full story. And so until you know the full story, then I just feel like you can't criticize anything. I mean, if you stay in your lane, and this is the thing too, people who are ahead of you will never criticize what you're doing. And so you have to just, you are in your own lane and you don't want people to criticize you. So don't be that critical of them. Now, what's your favorite movie?
Loving basketball.
Listen, that's top. That's right on up
I
there.
will watch that movie a million times and learn something new every time. But the ultimate thing is she never gave up. And I feel like her persistence got her exactly what she wanted.
Now, tell me, what is your life motto?
I would say my life motto is, if God before me, who could be against me?
Ooh, now that's a good one. I love it. Listen, because with him there, oh, all things are possible. Period. 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 Now, how do you define success?
For me, success is fulfilling my life purpose. Whether I'm doing something on the path to fulfilling it, or I don't feel like I'll fulfill it until years down the line. God has the same in mind, hopefully. But I feel like as long as I'm doing something along the path that is my life purpose, some people haven't found their life purpose. I know what mine is. So as long as I'm going along the path to fulfill my life purpose, then I'm successful. As long as every day I'm doing something, moving forward, helping someone, teaching someone, healing someone, I'm successful.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So tell the people where they can find you at, Nyrobia.
I am on Instagram at New Life Boost. I am on Facebook at Nyrobia Unlimited Life Boost. And those are my platforms.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, now, and if they need to connect with you, they can just connect with you. You can just DM Nairobi. So thank you for being the beautiful person that you are, and thank you for just showing up in an amazing and positive way. So of course, we have our next masterclass is coming up. We do have the Millionaire. We're in talks for the Millionaire Nurse CEO Conference. I cannot wait. Y'all gotta listen up for those details because they're coming up here soon. And so again, like, share, subscribe to the podcast if you're on YouTube. Go to the Nurse Nurturer channel, subscribe, because we want to get this podcast out to as many people as we can, because Nairobi is amazing, and just we're doing great things over here. And so thank you, Nairobi, for showing up. You have,
For having me.
ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a great day.